Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Shal Khazanchi. I am PhD Program Director today first, but I'm also Associate Dean for Graduate Program and Research. It's very exciting. You're launching PhD programs, so it's great to see some prospective students or those of you who are interested, but we are doing it hybrid. So we have online and folks joining us. So welcome to all of you who are joining us online. And if you have questions, I believe they can type questions in chat. I want this to be conversational. I'm not going to stand here and talk. I'm a professor, although I can do that for a very long period of time, but I want this to be conversational. So I introduce myself. I also want to give my colleagues an opportunity to introduce themselves. They are here. There are 3 concentrations in the PhD program, and so I'll let Sean and Hal introduce yourself, please.
Hi everybody, I'm Clyde. Oh, you want me to go over there?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So we'll play musical chairs for a little bit because we are recording. They have to walk up here.
All right. Hi everybody, I'm Clyde Hull. I got my PhD at Indiana University's Kelley School of Business over 20 years ago now. Really excited to be part of the PhD program here. I'm looking forward to it, in particular the idea of strategy and innovation, which is the section that I'm associated with. I've been associated with that for over 20 years, and so it's nice to be involved with the PhD program doing that. That can mean a lot of things. Should I talk about it now? Or?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, that can mean a lot of things, and I'll tell you about that later. Bye.
Okay. Tell me if I'm getting in there, Matt.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Sean Hansen. I'm the department chair for MIS Marketing and Analytics and a professor of management information systems. And the concentration that I will be presenting or discussing with you is digital transformation, which is a really interdisciplinary domain that includes management information systems and some marketing and a little of a couple different things. So we're really excited about it because it's very different than what you see at a lot of other places.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hao Zhang. I'm a professor of finance. I'm representing my department, accounting and finance, 2 very exciting fields. So later I can introduce a little more about the fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Hal. So that was a quick introduction. I have been at RIT 17 years. This is my first job, real job, only job I ever wanted. So I enjoy being an academic. So I'm going to share agenda. So this is what we have for agenda. I want to also, sometimes it's also instructional to know what PhD is in business and how it is different from your other undergraduate in MBA, because my goodness, it is different. And so we'll talk a little bit about what PhD is, then why PhD at Saunders, right? So what makes us a little bit distinct. And I'll give you a quick overview of program structure and the curriculum. Admissions and application requirements, financial aid and tuition assistantship, leaving with Q&A. At any point of time you have questions, please just raise your hand. We just take it as we go along. Like I said, I want this to be more of a conversation than me presenting entirely. I have borrowed this slide from one of my colleagues because I loved it so much. And he uses it in his open houses for PhD. And I will read this to you, just as he does. I know you all can read, but I am still going to read it. Completing a PhD is a long, hard road with many potholes and washed out bridges along the way. You may run over some landmines and have to stop and turn around and explore other routes. If the goal is important enough to you, then these obstacles will not prevent you from completing your journey. But if you do not know why you are on this road, then you will get discouraged and will probably leave without finishing. Probably not a good idea to start here, but I did want to, because a PhD, unlike your other undergraduate degrees or MS degree, is very different. It is one of the most challenging degrees that you will undertake. It does require certain characteristics and certain orientation for you to pursue it. So what is the goal of PhD program? It is to help you learn to do high impact research, to solve novel and complex business challenges. What does that mean? There are 3 things of this part. So you immerse yourself in the knowledge and in the literature within your field. So it's a deep immersion. You'll spend long hours reading and understanding research. Second is acquire methodological skills that you need to address and answer the research question that you have. Third is being able to write and publish that research. So those are the three parts of research, all three equally important, and it is science, which is why it is not a linear path to the end. Science is not pretty, it is fun and it is exciting, but it is not pretty to look at. It has jagged roads. So what do you get at the end of it? What's your career path like? You move from that end to this end. You become us. Not exactly me, but that's the career. So you become faculty members at research-oriented universities. That is the primary goal. While there are other secondary options that you can pursue, such as consulting, some people go in government jobs, all of those are the options. But the primary goal for this program and our purpose is for you to train you from there to here. One of the advices or things that I always remember from my PhD program is PhD program is as close of a realistic job preview you can get in any program. What you do in your PhD program is pretty much you will do scaled up version unless you take on administrative role when you become a faculty member. So that's the end goal for the PhD program. Who should apply? You should be. Curiosity is almost an essential aspect of it. You should be curious about what? About business challenges, about business trends. Be curious about why organizations are behaving in a certain way, why some companies are adopting technologies versus not, what's the downside of the adoption of certain technology. All of those stem from curiosity. You have to be innately curious because you're learning, right? You have to be tenacious because again, it's science. It's not tenacity is one trait that gets us from one end to the other, because it's not, again, I keep repeating, it's not a linear projection. So you have to be willing to take detours, turn around, figure out. You start with, for example, a theory or a research question, doesn't come through, then you have to go back, recircle back and figure out, okay, it didn't work, why it didn't work, let me propose something else, and then go out and test it again, right? So that's the part, that's where tenacity. You have to enjoy reading and writing most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time. You'll read a lot in your PhD coursework, you will read all the time, even as a professor, as a faculty member, and you'll be writing a lot because you have to disseminate research. Otherwise, it's of no point. Right? So that's kind of PhD in general. That's the program. It is very unlike your other programs. Then why at Saunders? I think it is an exciting place, but let me tell you a little bit about the program, and then I'll have Sean, Clyde, and Hao talk about their concentrations. And it is distinct. It is distinct in a sense, unlike other programs, traditional business PhD programs. Ours is the one that is really at the intersection of technology. Large number of faculty members in the College of Business are pursuing research and challenges that stem either from technological advances or innovations, their implementation or lack or failure of those implementations. So that's the unique part of it. The program is built in such a way, I will show you when we go over the structure, that allows you to leverage RIT's strength as a technological universities, because in electives you can take some of those courses. It also leverages Saunders' strength, curricular strength around technology and business. So a lot of the coursework in the programs and the PhD itself has a multidisciplinary nature to it, just as our faculty members research, right? We have 3 areas of specialization. If you are looking to apply, you have to choose one area of specialization. So you are applying into an area of specialization. And so we have strategy and innovation. and I'll talk in a second about this. It's really the firm strategy and firm innovation is the source of competitive advantage. And what role does the technology play in that? Is the focus of strategy and innovation. Digital transformation, Sean talked about. It's a integration of digital technology in the marketing of products and services, as well as management of information. And so you can't. We are always dealing with big data nowadays. Right? And the third one is finance and accounting, even though it says finance and accounting, but it is also focused on emerging technologies that affect financial markets. So I'm going to have Sean Pai talk a little bit about each of their concentration and maybe give any sort of an example of what kind of research occurs within their discipline, so everybody has a sense of it. Clyde, you want to go first?
Sure.
This time I remember I have to come over here first.
Yes, you do.
Okay, it doesn't actually show me how many people are in there, but.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Oh, now I see. Okay, hi, everybody. Okay, so, well, Shaul already gave you a little bit of an idea of what the strategy innovation is about. We've got the technology, we've got the innovations, and we're using those with the strategy to move it forward. From my point of view, strategy is kind of about implementing innovation. If we're just going to keep things exactly the same without innovation, that's not really strategy either. That's just hoping nothing eats you. So a lot of that has to do with high-tech stuff, and there's a lot of really cool high-tech stuff going on around here that we can get into. I'm going to say a couple of words about my area of research as an example. So my research is garbage. Specifically, there's a lot of garbage being produced in the world every day. And we've got this linear economy going on where people dig stuff up out of the ground and then they process it. And there's this very polluting, high polluting processes in many cases, along with dangerous working conditions. And then once it's been processed, you make it into parts. You turn those parts into something like maybe a phone, and they sell you the phone. You get the phone, you throw the wrapping away immediately. That's the plastic in the ocean right there. And then after 6 months, they're like, whoa, cooler phone. You throw away the phone and you go on to a new phone, and the phone is kind of, and they're floating around in the garbage. Now, yeah, maybe you trade it in and somebody else uses it for a while, and then it goes in the ocean. But either way, it winds up in the garbage, possibly floating in the ocean, maybe in a dump someplace. So a circular economy closes that so that you don't use all those raw materials and you don't have a lot of waste coming out the other side. I did not invent this concept. It was invented by Dame Ellen MacArthur, now, excuse me, she got knighted, who now runs the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And circular economy is a nifty concept. So what I've been doing in my research recently is working on seeing if we can help entrepreneurs change from a linear to a circular economy. And the technology in question would be whatever the circular economy answer to the linear economy problem. So in this case, it's not necessarily always a high-tech solution, but it's an innovative solution. So maybe instead of selling people phones, we sell them a phone service, and then we keep the phones, we own the phone, we just give you the service. And if that's the case, then suddenly we no longer have an incentive to make a phone that needs to get replaced every 6 months. We have an incentive to make a phone that we can upgrade from a distance, maybe, and never actually have to bring back in. If you keep your phone for 40 years, it's a better business model for us. So tweaks like that, it's a strategy, it's an innovation, and so forth. When working on a project with a current PhD student in Jordan, I'm sorry, she's not in Jordan most of the time, but the project is helping entrepreneurs actually develop circular economy products. So in this case, they're coming up with, we're trying to eliminate a waste stream of polyester. There's 50 tons going in the landfill every day. So that's the raw material. What can you do with polyester? Interesting question. It took a while to figure it out. They've got some products. I didn't think to bring any with me, but right now they're at the point of here are the prototypes. We're trying to get customers, and it's been a really interesting thing to see how the whole process works when it's driven by this idea to be sustainable. I just got a grant to be doing something similar on a bigger scale in 9 different countries in Asia. So if you wind up in the PhD program working with me, there may be a trip to Asia involved, but it doesn't have to be. A lot of the work also focuses on underrepresented minorities. And I like the idea of working with underrepresented minorities, first because I'm underrepresented minorities, but secondly, when you're trying to disrupt a linear economy, all the players in this economy already, they like the status quo, it's making them rich. So what you want is you want people who do not have a stake in keeping things the way they are. They want to overturn that apple cart and start their own thing. So circular economy, completely overturning the existing apple cart. We're going to have a bunch of new players running the economy when this thing takes hold. How does that sound? Well, to people who are not very well represented in the old system, I think that is a little bit of extra appeal there. So multiple reasons I like this plan. And that's just one of the examples of the research in the strategy innovation area. There's a lot of other cool stuff going on in there too.
Thank you, Clyde. So strategy, Sean, come on right up. So strategy and innovation is really about firm strategy. And there are a whole other set of faculty members who are looking at corporate governance, how technology is changing, and how firms devise their strategies. Sean.
Check in when I'm in the middle. There we go. Yeah. So digital transformation is the second of the two concentrations here. And digital transformation is really about, what? Of the three, sorry, the second of the three, that's right. Digital transformation is really about how digital technologies are changing the way we organize and operate and the markets that we perform within in organizations. And again, the two disciplines within the group, the department that the digital transformation will be housed within are marketing and management information systems. And these are two fields that are actually coming together in pretty dynamic ways right now. And I think a good demonstration of the digital transformation area is some of the work that's happening between those groups. So we have some of our marketing faculty and some of our MIS faculty doing studies on things like fake reviews in online marketplaces. That's gotten a lot of attention recently. But so that's using some machine learning, some artificial intelligence tools to explore a marketplace that is also driven by artificial intelligence tools in terms of driving those types of review markets, basically paying people to write reviews on products that they have not actually used. And we can detect patterns to help us figure out which are legitimate reviews and which are fake reviews. So it's that real blending of different domains. And I think that's the really interesting thing about this discipline, because there is no digital transformation existing programs. Like this is one that really is carving out a new space, even though it taps into existing disciplines in the business domain.
Thank you, Sean. So I'll just piggyback on what Sean just said, because I keep wanting to give you a sense of what kind of research. So there's another faculty member who's really using AI to help with efficiency and effectiveness of detection of mental disorders, mental health disorders. So some very cool research going on in all of the areas. How?
Hello, everybody. So I talk a little bit about finance accounting. So I think everybody know finance accounting, right? It's about money, right? So a lot of research interests related to money, right? For example, when you want to invest your retirement money, you go to the 401k account, you buy stock, you sell stock, right? All of this kind of issue related to finance, right? So in addition to that, accounting is more related to the firm's disclosure issues. For example, every quarter, every year, you want to see whether your investment is good or bad. How can you get the data? You need to check their 10K filing, 10Q filing to see whether they are doing good or bad, right? So accounting researchers make a lot of effort try to help us understand what kind of disclosure can help investors better understand firm behaviors, firm performance. Right. So now think about all this kind of investment procedure. Now technology has already fundamentally changed the whole procedures. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you cannot use phone to trade. Now the rise of Robinhood, right? So many retail investors go to the market to trade. That's not only a trader's issue, but also a regulator's issue. I work in the SEC before. I know that's a huge issue because you change the investor base now. So many retail investors flood the market. You will influence the stock price behavior. Will cause systematic risk. Risk return, our topic, right? Finance topic. Now let me conclude using two things. First one, a lot of researchers in finance accounting do use a lot of textual analysis, business analytics tool. As I mentioned earlier, every quarter, every semester, every quarter, they disclose the 10K filing, 200 pages, right? 100 pages, 200 pages, but usually we only pay attention to the financial statements, less than 10 pages. What are the remaining 180 pages? Tax. So therefore, textual analysis is very useful for finance accounting researcher now. If you are a computer science major, engineering major, actually, you have a very strong start point in finance accounting field. Because you know how to harness data, you know how to analyze data, you will be able to do a lot of high impact research, okay? So second issue I want to conclude is that in our field, we still have a lot of researchers do traditional finance accounting topic. Like Dr. Ashok Raban, Dr. Stan Hoy, Dr. Yang Rong, a lot of colleagues, they are highly cited scholars. They publish at the very top journal in finance accounting. You can check our record. We should be able to help you go through these procedures and help you do a lot of interesting study. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Sean, Clyde, we can all come up here because for the next one, so we can talk about.
It's a panel discussion now.
Not a panel, like a, yeah, some like Saunders experience. So I think I will talk a little bit more about why Saunders, because I've been here for 17 years. I feel great about being here. Why it makes sense, what's unique about the school. So I'm going to ask, I'll talk a little bit about the apprenticeship model, and then I'll ask my colleagues to share one unique insight about what makes Saunders really truly an exciting place is we will adopt an apprenticeship model in PhD. What does that really mean? Right, what that means is very day one, you will be working with a faculty member on a research project. That's how this will start. Unlike some of the other programs where it is more mentoring and hands-on, this is more apprenticeship. You come in, join a research project, start working on a research project that's existing, that's already going on. So that's what we mean by apprenticeship model.
But that's wait. You said in other programs are more mentoring and hands-on. This is
no.
Apprenticeship is more mentoring.
Yes, so this more distant
right.
mentoring, guiding, coaching. This is really hands-on. In you will learn the ropes of doing research because the goal is for you to publish by the time you graduate from the program. The question always comes like, why are we doing this research? And you heard from all three of them, and including me, it's to make a difference, to have a societal impact, to help people understand the problems better and hopefully change the conversation and the practices both. So each one of you could share one thing that makes us unique and interesting. To be at Saunders.
So I think I alluded to some of it, but I think the interdisciplinary nature of the program is really is a total secret sauce. Like it's a really important element. And it's true, actually, even though we presented 3 different concentrations, I think all 3 have a lot of that interdisciplinary dynamic, and anyone who goes through the program in any of the 3 concentrations will get some of that blending. And I think that's really indicative of where management and management education is going, right? Traditionally, it was very siloed. Organizations were very siloed, and so the academy was very siloed. And I think those silos are breaking down in many ways. And so as a doctoral student, that's the kind of thing you want to get, is a sense of how those gaps can be bridged and worked across.
Yes, so it's interdisciplinary right there. That is the future of doctoral education. We believe that it is interdisciplinary in nature. Almost all of our research transcends boundary. I'm in my research working with a professor at Georgia Tech in School of Architecture in understanding how space impacts different aspects of work life. So interdisciplinary is really key. And when we get to the program structure, you will see how that is made feasible.
So I would just really like to agree with what Sean just said to start with, especially like, for example, digital transformation. One of my big areas is digital entrepreneurship. And I was just earlier today revising a paper talking about how the digital has transformed, and it's an external enabler. One of the viewers taught me that term. It's an external enabler that changes how things happen in business, and obviously, therefore, how you innovate and how you do strategy is changed by that. So if you were working on digital entrepreneurship, should you be in Sean's program? Should you be in my, not Sean's program, my program, you know what I mean? It's kind of depends on, you need to think a little bit more about which way you want to jump there, because and if, you'd have a committee, and Sean could be, and I could be on the same committee, whichever department, whichever program you're in. One of us might be your chair, and the other one might be on the committee, because we, both have things to bring to that area.
And that's also the nature of the projects. So the faculty members across departments work on a project across disciplinary boundaries, and if you get paired with those, then that's the experience. So it is really, we walk the talk.
One other thing that I just wanted to mention is that the PhD program that I came out of, I showed up and I took classes. Now, I had done an MBA, so you guys are all familiar with the model. You show up, you take the classes, and you do well in the classes, and if you've got straight A's going forward, then life is good, right? Well, at the end of the first year, I didn't have a dissertation advisor. I didn't have an actual project. So I'm taking these classes and like, okay, well, if you have a dissertation project, you can do your stats for your dissertation as your final project for this class. It's like, okay, but if I don't, then I know a guy who's got a business, I'll do a little analysis of his business for the class. And the guy's like, okay. But nobody actually was like, go get a mentor. Here, it's not an option to like wait a year and then discover that you fell through the cracks. Here, you will have somebody right off the bat who's like, yes, you are my, we won't call you.
But you won't be
apprentice.
stuck with that person.
Yeah, you can
No.
Go see Shaw. You don't have to see the person. Go see Shaw and be like, that guy is totally awful. I don't want to be with him anymore. And Shaw will be like, we'll find you somebody better. And if it's me, then there's lots of people better, so you won't have a problem.
Right.
But the thing is that you will have a person who is responsible for you, who knows how to get this stuff done right from the very start. And that is, I think, a strength of this program that you will not see a lot of the other PhD programs out there. They just kind of wait to see, who's swimming on their own.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll take you 2 years from now. In the meantime, got a question.
Yes.
Thank you. You emphasize on the apprenticeship model. So my question is, assuming that an applicant has a background in projects which are not really similar to the projects available at Saunders currently, so how would his background weigh in? Of a project?
Right. So in ours, when I get to the application process, I always encourage you to look at the faculty research interests, find a fit, help us identify that. So we'll start there. If you have a preference, so if you know what Sean is working on, he's working on with other faculty members, with something with Rochester Regional Health, if that is appealing to you, then you would let us know in your statement of purpose, and that will be weighed into when we match. So it's a joint process. It's almost between students indicating their interest, faculty members' interest and capacity to work with, and then we figure it out.
And sometimes there might be linkages that aren't readily apparent.
Right, exactly.
Like you might say, well, this is a particular phenomenon that I study.
Yeah.
And on its surface, it might not relate to something else. But let me just give you an example. One of the things I study is software development methods, right? And you might think, oh, I don't care about software development. But the methods that are used have bled into all kinds of project management and collaboration models and things like that. So there might be threads that run beneath the surface that are worth exploring a little bit before making a determination.
Actually, I have a follow-up question. Do you have some specific areas that you have done research in that you would be willing to give us as an example?
For instance, let's say a supplier and retailer relationship and fairness in their interactions, something like that. So assuming there is, I have a background in using agent-based modeling for such a problem, and currently we don't have anything as a project in Saunders.
I think we do.
Upon my application, would you still consider my background too?
So I see. Yes, we would, but that will not be a deterrent if that's what you're asking, right? So that will not be a deterrent. One, I can think of a faculty member who's studying similar kind of things within Saunders, but even if not, because I will tell you, when I started my own program, right, I worked on on creativity and innovation was my dissertation. My chair had nothing to do with that. She was not a part of that, but she oversaw it because it overlapped with her research. So faculty members have the skills and expertise to guide you. In fact, that is our goal, to help you become an independent scholar. So with that goal in mind, we would encourage you to pursue your interest and your inquiry, and we guide you. Early on, it helps to be paired with the faculty so you can do research and you understand how to identify a problem. What does it mean to design a research study? How do you publish? What's the navigation process? So the purpose of the initial apprenticeship is slightly different. It is not to lock you down in any research project. In fact, it would be hard for me to think it's good to come with ideas, but you get exposed to so much. I still remember my first conference. It was like a kid in a candy store. You have so many good ideas. You want to pursue this, you want to pursue that. So it's good to explore.
But I think carving out some of your own space is really important too. Like one of the cardinal sins, and this is true if you're looking at other doctoral programs, sort of look at what the other doctoral students in the program are studying. And if it looks exactly like what their dissertation advisors are studying, that should be a red flag.
That should be a red flag.
Because it means that the advisors are just using students to drive their own research and trying to plant their interests into the student. And eventually you're going to go out and carve out your own career and do your own thing. And you better be interested in it or you're going to lose motivation. So it's got to be something that you care about.
Yes.
And finding that balance with a program and with advisors is part of what
you're going to
what you should do, what you want to do.
You're going to stay with the dissertation for 5 years, at least.
At least.
From the start to the time you publish, at least. So you should like it somewhat, somewhat. So, but the goal is to help you become independent scholar. How did you want to share something?
Okay, I think because IT is a big name for the technology, right? So even for finance accounting, it's a traditional field. Actually, we are really open to all the majors. So even you have background in math, whatever, in economics, in non-finance major, actually think about the research, right? We try to explore new field. We need to use new methods. As a faculty member, we only know, for example, the paper here. If you know a little more, actually you expand the field, right? You help us explore the frontier, and more important, you will become a leader of a certain field, right? So therefore, we really welcoming the student from all the majors to whatever our concentration here. You enrich our research environment.
I cannot emphasize that more. You help us learn. My advisor always told me, she's now a good friend, she said, you learn through because they're going to learn new techniques, new methods, and are more excited about that. And I'll take the question.
Yeah, I have a question on the finance and accounting program.
Sure.
So is the research more geared towards investment analysis or just also finance?
We, on both sides, we have faculty member can publish at the top tier journals. So it doesn't matter which one you choose, you will have very good advisor.
So actually, can I give an example?
Yes.
So my first PhD student wanted to work with me because I did innovation. And he said, what about, I want to do the circular economy, and then can we look at that as innovation? And I said, what's circular economy? And then I found out what it was, and we've published 4 papers together on circular economy. And he graduated. He's not here anymore. We're still possibly going to work on another paper. It's and this one's actually. Then my second one reached out to me and said, I'm interested in doing something with underrepresented entrepreneurs in Jordan. Well, I've been to Jordan. I was 12 at the time. I don't know that much about the country. And she's like, well, underrepresented in Jordan is basically women. I want to help empower female entrepreneurs in Jordan. I said, well, are you interested in circular economy? And she said, yes. Actually, I didn't have to explain it to her. She knew what it was. So we wound up, her dissertation project involved circular economy entrepreneurs in Jordan. And the people that we're studying are almost all of them female, trying to get through in a very patriarchal society. And we're learning a lot about all of these things, and she is very hands-on and excited about this. So each PhD student that comes in to work with me is the next one wanted to do something in Asia, and that's where that one came from. So I wound up with these projects because of who my PhD students are. But there's something from me. First was innovation, then it was innovation, specifically circular economy. There's something from me involved, and then they bring something like in the one case it was circular economy, the next one was Jordan, and now it's Asia, and underrepresented minorities. I was really excited about doing that one when I understood, because that was an interest of mine already. So pulling them together and finding a way, what's interesting to you, what's interesting to me, that's fun. That could be a fun conversation.
So that shows, which is the third bullet point here, which is we really do have very collegial and vibrant research culture. We really do. I mean, I cannot emphasize that enough. I always think of PhD, I did then and I do now. It's almost realistic job preview for your future career as a faculty member. So an environment and culture in which you are is really, really important, just as it would be when you join in as a faculty member. That was a pivot for me to take this job over another offer, and that has held true. Being in academia, doing research requires a lot of long hours, a lot of perseverance. And so it is important, it doesn't matter whether you are social, that you have respect for your colleagues and you enjoy talking to your colleagues. It really is a very vibrant culture, and it comes through. It comes through in all of us talking about them. And that is a huge part, right? You work with whoever you want to, you work with different disciplines, all of that is a strength. And we have a new building coming up, which is also a strength, because you will have new space for doctoral students in
Well,
there.
it's still this building, but it's going to be way cooler.
Yes, it will be very cooler. It's like an attachment. You will have new space for doctoral students, and we have new lab. So several faculty members actually do experimental design, and we will have a dedicated lab for experimental design. So I want to pause here and give you all an opportunity to go back so that they're not standing here, but take questions. You can chime in from there. We still have a few more slides to go through. Question.
I was going to ask about the timeline.
Okay, timeline. There. It's approximately 5 years. No less than 4 years, 4.5 years. So it does require tenacity, and you have to like what you're doing for you to stick with it for 5 years and come out really happy. Like I said, it doesn't scar you, but it is a difficult program, and it is completely residential and on campus. We will not permit part-time work. It is completely on campus, full-time work. That's how most PhDs are, and that's how this is. Years 1 and 2, roughly 2.5, is your coursework. It ends with a second year project, presentation and defense. Hopefully my second year project got published in a very good journal. Hopefully the aim is that. And you'll also be working with some faculty members on a project. So you finish your coursework, you take a comprehensive exam, which is pass and fail, and then you do your second year project, which is actual project. Right? And then the remaining 2.5 years, 2 years, give and take, is your dissertation research dedicated time. But that doesn't mean we can go and online and work from somewhere else. You will be here, because part reason is the program is residential and on campus, requires you to be physically in Rochester. And I showed you this credit hours. There's 78 credit hours, 48 for coursework. And if you come in with business background, then we waive some. But 30 for
I'm going to turn the
research.
lights back down, Michelle, just
Okay.
because I think it's harder to read.
Thank you. Application and admissions process, it's fairly straightforward. We are waiving application fee for first year. So application fee is waived. If GRE GMAT is not waived. It doesn't matter what your discipline or background is. GRE GMAT is a required component of this program. TOEFL, IELTS or PT for international students, and I've given you a rough minimum threshold on that. At statement of purpose, there are specific questions that we are asking. I would very strongly encourage you to answer all of those questions as best as you can, because it helps us in our assessment. We look at it as we are hiring. We are hiring a PhD students for 5 years. So we will do our due diligence. Admission process will involve interviews with the faculty member, with potential faculty members that you'll be working with. So it's initial, at some point of time, it will involve an interview. You have to choose from an area of specialization. You cannot just say PhD. If you need help discerning which concentration or which areas, please reach out to us. Please reach out to any of us who spoke here or anyone in the college. Everybody, they will ultimately forward your inquiry to me, but I will then connect you with people who can help you decide. In fact, I'm talking to 2 or 3 students who are figuring out whether it's digital transformation or whether it is strategy and innovation. And it's interesting, both Sean and I arrived at a similar conclusion in terms of advising the student, which tells you there is some reliability here in our decision making and when you talk with us. I will strongly encourage you to review. You have to be excited. We are excited. We would be excited when we hire you, we recruit you. You have to be excited about what you're going to be, which program you're going to be part of. So I would encourage you, we have a research page which spotlights some faculty research, not everybody's, but lists all the faculty research. You should go through that, right?
Chime in?
Yes.
I think if you've not heard of a thing called Google Scholar, you should find that. It's really easy to find because you go on Google and you type Google Scholar and there it is.
Or scholar.google.com.
Yeah, that works too. And then what you do is you type in the name of the faculty member with quotes. So like with Clyde Hull, you might find him anyway because that's a pretty unusual combination, but just to be sure, put quotes around the person's name and you should see an actual profile for the faculty member. You do that again with you should probably look at everybody in the department, or at least everybody who looks like they might be doing something interesting to you. And then what you would want to do is you want to look to see what they've been doing most recently. So there's a by citation count, and mine on the top of mine there was published in 2008, which is a while ago. But if you click on by year instead, it'll lead off with my 2022 publication, which by the way, the second author on that is a former PhD student who used to work with me. I was not her chair, but he was an advisor. And you'll see a bunch of other stuff on me with Shirley Millett, who's a former PhD student who told me about circular economy. But you'll also just sort of see what these people are doing now. What's most interesting to them right now? Because if they were doing it in 2002 and they aren't doing it anymore, they haven't done it in 15 years, they may not want to pick it up again. They might be like, yeah, I really missed that. I want to get back into it. But on the other hand, what they're doing right now is probably the best sign of what they're likely to be wanting to do when you get it.
So it's a fully funded program. It comes with research assistantships, which is part of you'll be working with the faculty members on their research project in an apprenticeship model, so that pays for your time. Tuition is waived. It comes with tuition waiver and stipend, and responsibilities will include working on research projects, teaching assistant in the first year, second year you will be teaching, I said, realistic job preview. You really are, it's an extension. What you will do as a PhD is certainly what you will do as an assistant professor for your 5 years. And then if you pick up an admin role, like some of us did, then it changes a little bit. The stipend is $20K for your year, plus $7K in the summer. So it adds up to be about $27K. It's barely making living wages, but it helps you pay through the program. That's the financial aid and assistantships. I want to stop here to see if there are questions. Yes.
Does every PhD student get financial aid?
Yes. We will not admit you if you are not able to give you financial aid. It does come with financial aid.
If you say not all PhD programs, meaning if you look at other PhD programs outside of business, for example, there are some where you don't get stipend and things like that.
Yeah.
There are also some business programs that don't, but
this is so we do it up to a maximum of 5 years. Up to a maximum of 5 years, or we guarantee it for 4 for sure, but maximum of 5 years. Okay. Are there questions? Yes.
What if we jump through? I mean, after I started one area of specialization and then I decided that is not what I'm interested in, and there's one more which is kind of is my interest. So can I jump into the other area of interest?
I wouldn't say no, because if you go back to the structure, it also depends, right? It depends. So your first year, you would be taking research design course, or you'll be taking research methodology, initially some PhD seminars, or it also depends on where the switch is. Switch between finance and digital transformation may be a little difficult, but between strategy, innovation, and digital transformation may be easier. Or again, the goal is to help you graduate and become a faculty member and be happy with that, right? We are training and inspiring next generation of scholars, independent scholars. So we'll work with you as much as we can, and you'll figure out early on. The moment you start getting into PhD seminars, you will start figuring out if this is something that I'm interested in. So the way, if you look at there are elective courses and support area courses. For each, there are 8 courses. So as a part of those courses, you can do independent studies. So while you're taking a coursework, so if you admitted in finance and accounting and you think, oh, digital transformation seems pretty cool, or their research seems pretty cool, I want to explore that, then I would encourage you to do an independent study with a faculty member to explore the area. And then when you start to become, okay, this is the area I want to, then we'll figure out a way to switch. There is enough flexibility for you to be able to do that. Matt, are there questions? Go ahead.
All right, so I've got 3 for you, 2 short ones,
Yeah.
1 very long. Okay, so the first is work experience required.
There is no work experience required. In fact, that's a good point. You can be from any undergraduate degree, unlike other programs. I am a physics and chemistry major. If I wanted to do PhD in physics, I needed to be a physics undergrad. I couldn't do it otherwise. But in business school, like our other graduate programs, it is built in such a way that will give you the foundation knowledge for business disciplines. You do not need to have an undergraduate in business. You can be in fact, a lot of us do not have undergraduate in business. Some do, but many of us don't. So no experience required. If you are an international student, there is a number of years of graduation that probably is a criteria.
So no master's, undergrad?
Yes.
No master's, so that was the next one.
No master's required.
Okay, so what are the speaker's thoughts, Shaw's thoughts on a prospective student who is already a professional? For example, someone who's been in industry for 25 years and has a desire for the PhD, and it's purely personal as opposed to a career driver.
I will give Charles thought as a PhD program director, and then I will have faculty members also weigh in because they are leaders in their field. Probably not a good program for you, I would say. It's not necessarily a good fit, because if you go back to the goal that we are looking, we are training next generation of scholars. So if you don't want to be on this side of the table where we are at, probably not a good fit, but I'm happy to talk. Let's talk and see if there is a fit, but my sense would be probably not a good fit. Yes.
I think I agree, but specifically because of the last part of the question.
Yes, last part of the question, exactly.
Academia was a total career change for me. I had been in consulting, technology,
Yes.
management and technology consulting for about a decade when I started my doctoral program. So I don't want to scare people off
No.
if this would be a career change,
Yes.
but if it's just
Very good.
because you want to have PhD behind your name and you don't want to teach and become a researcher, then that's the piece
Yes,
that would
it's
be a red
good.
flag.
Yes, so it's exactly right. What Sean is saying is the last piece that got me. Experience valuable. You bring that experience because that becomes your lens in examining issues. So career change, all for it.
By the way, as a career change, I've never regretted a day in my life. Well, in the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Just one other thought about that. Also, somebody who had considerable career experience before I entered the program, the PhD program myself. Think of it, those of you who have business experience, and think of it like this. It's a $135,000 investment on our part and 5 years of an expert's time into somebody, because we expect that you will do great things in our field afterwards. We don't want to make that investment if you're not going to do anything with the degree, because it's a very expensive thing to be a PhD.
It is hiring, it is investment.
Yes.
On our part, it really is. So it's just the last part, Matt. The experiences.
Yeah, my first PhD student, slightly older than me. No problem.
Yeah. The drive and the motivation. Anything else?
Got one more, yeah.
Yes.
So, and Brad, you said thank you, that's right, so just want to throw that out there as well. Okay, how many students are you planning on accepting this admission cycle?
Maximum of 5. So it's a small program. That is maximum of 5.
Per category? Or-
5 total, and lot of it will depend on where the interest is and where the applicants is, but 5 of total.
Do you have one more?
Yes, go ahead, keep going.
All right, so for the 5-year plan window for the curriculum, is that starting from right after your bachelor's?
Mhm.
Or 5 years even if you have a master's?
So if you have a master's, then we will talk. Maybe there are some, so we have support area courses and electives, right? So some of those can feed into that if it is aligned with your research, because we really want to use support areas to augment and beef up, bolster your expertise, either methodological or domain specific.
But you can't
right?
waive away the first 2 years.
No.
I would fear that that might be the question. Can you basically get credit for all the coursework?
No.
And the answer is no.
No. You have to do coursework because you have a second year project and you have a comprehensive exam that is tied up. But there may be a waiver. I believe there is some courses that can be waived. I will have to talk. So it's not starting, you can get some credit. So I came in with my MBA in my PhD program. And when I did my PhD, so there were some credits that were waived that were MBA core. So it gave me like I think a 6-month shorten. I will say this, it's hard to imagine that you will finish this program in less than 4.5 years. It doesn't matter whether you come with your bachelor's or your master's. It's just hard. That's the length of the program.
So sorry.
I have a follow-up on that. In my PhD program, where 5 was the norm, we had somebody who finished, he came in with me and he finished at least 6 months early. I think it was 6 months early. And the way he did that, he finished faster than anybody else. He had an MBA, but I had an MBA too. Most of us had MBAs. The way he did that was he came in and on day 1, he went and he found somebody, he's like, I want to be your apprentice. And he worked with that person as her apprentice. He was her apprentice. For the full time I was there, he hit the ground running as that person's apprentice on a project immediately. And he wound up getting some really good publications that did really, in very, very good journals. And I remember when he was out, his wife was telling me that, telling us that they were the place where he wound up going. They were making him an offer. It was a 6-figure salary, and this is some years ago. And his wife is at the dinner table and says, well, could you guys throw in a free car? And he freaked out because he's like, oh my God, my wife is going to kill this deal. I'm like, yeah, if you sign today, we'll throw in a free car. And they got a free car because his wife asked for one at the dinner. And so she tells that story.
Assuming you got a lot of publications too.
Yes.
He had some really good publications because he picked somebody who did published really good and said, I will be your apprentice, and he was. We're doing that here.
Yeah.
So one of the things about this program is that is one of the advantages that really blew people away was how much he was able to get, and that's because he started off as an apprentice on day 1. You will have to do that here, but it's not like a bad thing. This is a strength. We're taking that and we're just
yes, but I will emphasize it is hard to imagine you finishing it in less than 4.5 years. Just I don't think that is feasible. So just to, it's important for me to calibrate, right, where you are, because we are hiring, we want you to be excited about the program, we want you to be successful, we want you to be worth the time and effort that we will all put in, right? So, yes.
How much of it, I guess, my question is, this is the first year of the program.
Yes.
Do you expect it to last 10 years from now?
Yes.
Is this like a
Yes. Yes. So if you look at RITs, I would not be investing. We will not be investing the time if we didn't believe that. In fact, I envision it to be growing. So if you look at RIT's aspirations, they are to move to R1. It's not an official, but they are moving towards a more comprehensive research university. It is aligned with Saunders' mission of having increasing scholarship and research. And yes, we wouldn't start the program if we weren't ready. And I will say this, so RIT, it has many PhD programs, all of them are STEM. It doesn't have a social science. This is the first social science program, and it is because Saunders is ready to launch it. That's why we got the support. But so absolutely, not 10 years, like 20 years from now.
And the vision is, there was a question earlier about how many students. The vision would be that it would probably get to a point where it's steady state 25 students at any given moment in time in the doctoral program.
So that's a steady state, that's envisioned. So we admit 5, and then we keep, Matt, was there another
So
question?
a couple more.
Yes.
And this is me half asking this question too. The TOEFL or IELTS requirement, I assume we're following the graduate program requirements for that. So meaning, so for students from Ghana, Nigeria, who would waive it.
Yes, we are following the graduate requirements. Yes, we are following
So I can
the,
answer those questions.
yes, we are following those requirements.
Okay, so the next one, what is the difference between the second year project and the research dissertation?
Very different. So second year project could be your project, if you want it to be, right? Doesn't need to be, but could be the project that you start in your year 1, right? With a faculty member. Or maybe in my case, as it was, as I started, a faculty member has a data set and I got interested in that. There was a question that I felt that data set could answer. I had acquired the methodological skills. I took the data, I analyzed it, wrote up a paper, defended it, that became a journal publication. So it can be, it doesn't need to be. Dissertation is your independent research. What that means is you will lead it entirely. You will come up with a research question. We'll help you come up with a research question. We'll get guidance. It is your independent work. Or you will collect the data for the study. You will analyze the data and you will write up the dissertation. It is completely different, and there are 30 credit hours attached to that. So it's different.
Any identified minimum requirements for the GMAT or GRE?
Nope, there is no minimum. You just need to take it, and we're launching the program.
But the higher the
Better, kind of. Higher the better.
If you took it for your MBA, do you need to take it again?
No, as long as it's 5 years, I think 5 years is the validity this course lasts. So for 5 years, I think so, Matt, I'm looking at Matt, right? It lasts for 5 years, the score?
5 years.
5 years. So if you took it in the last 5 years, that will work. That will work. But earlier than 5, yes.
I'm a current student in Saunders right now, pursuing masters.
Of course.
So am I eligible for it? Like, should I have to complete the masters and then maybe or?
That's a tricky question because graduate program also come underneath, but no, you do not need to complete. That's a matter of fact answer. You do not need to complete your masters. But if you're interested in the program, come and talk to us early. And this will start in fall, so you still have a.
complete to apply, but you would want to complete your program. What?
So you're saying, do I need to complete before I can be eligible for this?
Oh, yes.
Yes, no.
You definitely apply while you're still a student.
While you are a student, and you should definitely apply.
I'm saying don't stop the program.
No. I said that. No.
That'd be a red flag.
No. In fact, that's what kind of I would say. I would not encourage you to stop. You still have 6 months to go, so you should complete it. But yeah, I always encourage students to complete what you started. But talk to us if you're interested, right? So come and talk to us. Anything else? Are we good?
Yes, one more.
Yes.
So since the plan is for the program to grow in the next 10 years, is there a possibility that the program moves online for students that are located in other parts of the US?
Nope, no online option. As of now, I never say never, right? I've learned never to say never, but as of now, this program is intended to be in person. Not envisioned to be going online anytime soon, not in 5 years. 10 years, no.
As a faculty member who might be teaching in the program, I have zero interest in online.
There we go.
Well, I mean, one of the things you learn it really is very different than other educational environments. You see all the seminars that were listed, a lot of methods, so you're learning a lot of research methods, and you're doing a lot of seminars. The seminars are small, group, discussion-based, really grappling with ideas. that is not fun in an online forum.
No, and
Whereas
it's-
it is, when you have 5 people online, it's brutal. 5 people sitting around a table, hashing out ideas, and a little bit of debate, a little bit of argument, that's
Yeah,
energizing.
it's
But
critical
international-
thinking.
Yeah.
International students, that would be fine. I mean, I have yet to have a domestic student. That doesn't mean I wouldn't take one, but as it happens, my first was from Trinidad, my second was from Jordan, and the third one is likely to be from a country in Asia. So, just because you're in a faraway country doesn't mean you can't come here for the PhD, but you would have to come. We're not going, I have no interest in trying to do that.
Yes.
So a lot of the projects you're working on, when it comes to the data collection, and because some are in Jordan, some are in Asia, how does that process work? Or do you like hands-on field work or data collection? Is it all done remotely?
No.
And then if not done remotely, how does that work for the residency? You just go in small stints to collect that and return?
So, Clyde, let me answer the bigger question and then you can address your project-specific question. It depends on your research question and your discipline. So if you're in finance, and you are dealing with archival data, a lot of it, right? So you're not going out in field collecting it, you're working with data sets. If you are in Sean's department, you're working with those, but you could also be working with big data, right?
Yeah,
You're
you can
scraping
do
data.
remote data collection
Yeah,
for
you can
sure.
do
Yeah,
remote
yeah.
data collection. It depends on your research, and a lot of other works is field studies. So Clyde's, I know, is engaged in field. So
Marketing can be online.
yes,
A lot of this stuff could be online, or for that matter, you could go down to the lab on the first floor where I don't actually know what it's in the new building. I don't know where it is. But wherever it is, you go to the lab and collect your data right there. As it happens, the student from Trinidad went to Trinidad and collected data. We don't do classes in the summer, and we don't do classes during winter break. So I forget which breaks he went on, but he went, I think, twice for data collection purposes. Since his wife didn't come up here while he was in the program, I think he was pretty glad to get back there and see his family for a while he was down there collecting data. I think so probably was in the summer. He'd be there for longer. So if you're in another country for a month collecting data and you come back with data, then we don't have a problem with that. My Jordanian student has gone back. She's finishing her first year. She has finished her semester. She went back winter break to collect data, and she goes back for almost a month in the summer. And we're planning to send her back again in the winter break, and then again in the summer after that. So yeah, it really depends on the project. But if you need to be someplace in person to collect the data, then we'll need to figure out how to do it.
Sorry, that might be like a skewed question. A lot of the research that I've done with faculty at RIT has been international in nature. So we'll be going to Central Africa, we'll be going to Bhutan. So that's what I'm asking when it comes to those international
yes.
projects,
So
sending someone to do that.
So you have dissertation research years 3 to 5. That gives you flexibility to collect. That's when you'd be collecting data for your dissertation and studies.
That's also something that's really changed. Like a lot of my research is qualitative data analysis, interviews.
Yeah.
And they used to all be on site.
Oh,
We'd
now
go there,
it's-
we'd have to be on site. And increasingly, we do a lot of those interviews over Zoom.
Zoom,
Something like
oh,
that. It
yes.
works just fine. So
Completely.
it's really one of those spaces that is changing very rapidly. The growth of big data and sort of machine learning data collection has really changed a lot in a couple different domains too. So
Yeah.
it sort of runs a gamut.
Any last question, comments, Matt, or are we good? You have a question, Matt?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
last question, and then I want to be mindful of time.
When we spoke, I thought you said it does run during the summer.
It does run what?
The program runs during the summer.
So you teach in summer, some of the, because you get summer support. If you choose not to take that summer support and want to work on dissertation or want to work on other projects, then that is a possibility. But I remember working all my summers, either teaching or collecting data all the 4 or 5 years.
What is the coursework, isn't it?
Oh, coursework doesn't. We don't offer courses in summer. So summer is summer support in support of your teaching or RA responsibilities.
But it's not vacation time. You're working really hard, probably on moving your dissertation forward. Somebody was saying, can we finish in less than 5 years? It's going to take you more than 5 years if you don't use those summers.
Yeah.
Yes. It can take up. Yeah, if you don't use your summer. I mean, faculty members are working on research over their summer now, right? That's what we do over the summer. How did you want to say something?
Exactly this point, you need to work in summer for research, taking courses.
Right. That's your downtime to think through and okay, what the project is, what phenomenon interests us, what puzzle we are trying to solve, what is not making sense, and then delve into the literature, design a research study, execute it.
Summers are definitely one of the most productive times
Yes.
for faculty.
It is. Okay. All right. We are all available. Thank you. Thank you all those of you who joined us online. Thank you those who came in person. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We are very excited, and if you're interested, we'd be more than happy to talk with you. All right. Thank you all.
Sure.